What's happening, guys? My name is SBC Detroit and welcome back to the channel. And if you guys are new to the channel, or if you like my content and haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and click the notification bell to see more of my content. Anyways, we are doing a reaction video tonight. And yes, it's nighttime. I decided to do this at night to make it even more creepier. But we're reacting to Mr. Nightmare, 4 really creepy true Home Alone stories. If you guys don't know who Mr. Nightmare is, he's basically a scary story narrator. He narrates true scary stories that happens to people, and so when people write them and send it to him, he narrates them and puts them on YouTube and records it. Also, he has his own sound effects, maybe animations, just to make it even more suspenseful. Anyways, we're going to react to this particular video, and if you guys want to see more Mr. Nightmare's content, I'll leave a link in the description below. Yeah, so let's get into today's video. Alright, so, time for some scary stories in 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright. Ooh, the music is creepy. Alright, story number 1.
I live in Sydney, Australia. This happened when I was 15 and home alone.
I guess he's getting
It was
stories
about 9
from all
p.m.
around the world
I
then.
was just coming out of the bathroom when I heard my front gate swing open and my dog begin barking. Across the hall, I saw someone run past the porch window and into the backyard. I was able to vaguely make out what he looked like. He was hunched over, had sickly pale skin, was wearing all black, and had long, messy black hair partially covering his face.
Oh yeah.
I went into the living room
Sounds
to see what
deranged.
was going on. My dog was still at the front door growling. Since I hadn't seen the guy return, this meant he was still
Yeah, my
somewhere
dog
in
will
my
be
backyard.
doing the same thing too.
I waited at the door for a while, when another, more normal-looking guy walked onto the porch and came right up to the security bars. I don't remember all the details, but our conversation went something along the lines of him saying, "Hey, have you seen my friend?" And I replied, "Yeah, I think he's in my backyard." He replied saying, "Okay, because I've been following this random guy all over the place. I think he's on drugs and might be dangerous." This struck me as weird though. What did he mean by this random guy when he had just called him his friend?
Right.
He quickly walked away, going off into the darkness towards my yard. I should also mention that there's a door around back, but that also has security bars in front of it, and the door was locked at the time. I waited at the front
Good.
door for a bit, then sat back down.
Good thing the doors were
After
locked.
about 2 minutes of waiting, the guy I spoke with walked back onto the porch and looked in through the security bars. He now had the pale, potentially drugged-out guy with him, who was pacing back and forth in an agitated manner. I went to the door to see what he wanted. He said, "Hey, sorry man, I just found him. Look, he's really nervous. He'd like if you unlocked the door and came out here, just so he could see that you're harmless." I felt a pain in my chest. The creepy drugged
That
out guy had
sounds
stopped
really
pacing
shady.
now and was standing
It's
unnaturally
suspicious.
still, staring me dead in the eyes. There was an uncomfortable silence. I didn't say anything,
I'm sure.
but stepped forward to push the French door shut, causing the second guy to lunge at me and shove his hand through the bars towards me.
Oh.
I jumped back and slammed the door shut with my foot, bolting it. I called my parents, and they called the police. The 2 men had
Yeah,
gone.
good thinking.
When the police arrived, they told me about a break-in that had occurred just down the street less than an hour ago. As far as I know, they never found the 2 guys. Looking back, it's likely that the first guy ran into the backyard to try to find a way in, and the second guy went to help him, which is why they were back there for so long. What disturbs me is the fact that they didn't want to just break in, nor did the fact that I was home deter them. They wanted me to come outside to them, or to get into where I was.
Now, why is it every time that when someone calls the police, the bad guys are always going, like, what is up with that? Like, what is up with that? They never even try to look for the guys, like, at least try to
Thursday
look.
night, my mom was working a late shift at the hospital. My 2 brothers were away at college, so for the time being, I had the house to myself. I had a couple friends over. We watched a baseball game, had a few beers, and they left through the back door.
Baseball.
I went upstairs
I
to
don't
the
really
kitchen
watch
to
baseball,
put the remainder of
but
the beers in the fridge and get
eh.
ready for bed. I went to bed shortly after, and after a while of laying down trying to actually fall asleep, I heard light footsteps coming up the stairs outside my room. My mom was home. I heard her cough as she passed my bedroom door and entered the bathroom. Then she went back downstairs to the kitchen and started making a lot of racket with the cabinets and dishes and whatnot. I was way too lazy to get out of bed to go down there and ask her to keep it down. So I just
I would
texted
be
her
too,
instead to stop making so
honestly.
much noise. I put my phone back on my desk and flipped on my side to try to get comfortable. Then I heard footsteps coming back upstairs. Quickly, my bedroom door opened, and my mom stepped into my room.
Are you sure that's your mom?
The hallway light outside my room wasn't on, so I couldn't make eye contact with my mom. But when I looked up, I saw my mom's figure. She stood by the doorway, looking kind of slouched over. I told her to stop making so much damn noise in a rather annoyed tone. When she didn't respond, I sat up and said, "Mom?"
That's
The
not your
vibration
mom.
on my desk let
That's
me know I
not
got
that's
a
not your
text.
mom.
And given that it was pretty late, I naturally checked my phone to see who it was. It was from my mom.
Yep, I told
She
you.
said, "I'm still at work."
I knew it. I knew it.
I dropped my phone onto my bed as I looked up at the doorway. That person standing at my doorway wasn't my mom.
Of course not.
Even though I was
Obviously
panicking,
not.
I had to think on my feet. I said, "Mom, I need to get to sleep. Get out." I said this because I wanted to play dumb, act like I had no suspicion that someone had broken in. The person at my doorway didn't move, so I picked up my phone, texted my mom in a panic, saying there's someone in the house. I mistook them for her and to call the police right now. My mom replied back, "Okay," in a matter of seconds. Something then broke the silence in the room. The voice of a woman, crackly and rough. She started saying something. It sounded to me like she was saying, "Don't know where to go," over and over. Her voice started getting louder as I realized she was approaching my bed.
Whoa.
I screamed, "Get back," as I fumbled for the lamp switch next to my bed. As the light turned on, I was faced with some old woman with white, wiry hair. With her wrinkled hands reached out at me,
Oh my
approaching
goodness.
my bed, repeating that phrase, "Don't know where to go."
Oh my
I
goodness.
screamed, "Get away from me," as it seemed as though she was about to attack me. I jumped off the bed and ran out of the room and held my door shut. Seconds later, I felt her trying to push the door open as I put all my weight up against it to keep it shut.
Okay.
She started
Good thinking.
screaming, "I need to get out," and started banging on the door. I held this position for the longest time. She was relentless. My mom kept calling my phone, but I couldn't pick it up. It wasn't until the cops arrived and knocked on the front door that I let go of the bedroom door and ran to them. The old woman immediately came rushing after me, but as I opened the door and yelled at the cops to stop her, they immediately pinned her against the wall. She was in cuffs and was put in the police car. I told them everything that happened. I said based on how she was behaving and what I told them, she would need to be identified and evaluated to determine if she was mentally ill.
Sounds
And
like
it later
she was.
turned out she was,
Oh
to
yeah,
no surprise.
yeah.
I found out later
Thought
that
so.
night after the cops left that after my friends left through the back door, I forgot to lock it. And that was how she managed to simply walk into my house. It's definitely scarred me mentally in the sense that anytime I hear something in my room while sleeping, I have to look up and make sure somebody isn't standing on the other side.
You gotta remember to lock your doors. This is why I lock my doors every single night. You gotta remember to lock your doors. You really gotta remember to lock your doors. Like I lock my room door. I'm smart enough to unlock my room door. Y'all gotta remember
Before
to
moving
lock
off
the
on my own
door.
to California, I lived basically in the middle of nowhere on my dad's ranch in Colorado. It was a beautiful, huge property. I just never loved living in a rural setting. I found it boring. Plus, as that old cartoon Courage the Cowardly Dog stated, creepy things happen in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, I'm sure.
There had been a number of times that people had trespassed on our property, which is why my dad owned 3 different guns.
Oh, 3
There was
different
one time he
guns.
had
That's
to chase 2 men off the
not
property
bad.
with his rifle.
got 3 ways of
What I'm
protection.
about to tell you happened a few years back. I think it was in the middle of June. I was home alone as my parents were on vacation together and my little brother was out with friends or at his girlfriend's house for the night. I don't remember.
You
It
know,
was a hot
honestly,
night
I
for
wouldn't risk
Colorado,
being home
so I had all the
alone
windows open.
in the nighttime, only the daytime.
I used to
Daytime
go to
is
sleep
fine
pretty
for me.
late around that time, so I think it was around 1 in the morning. I was still in the living room watching TV,
Okay.
and I noticed the motion sensing patio light turn on outside.
Ooh.
This light would only turn on due to very noticeable movement by a person. So immediately, I assumed it was my little brother returning home.
Little brother.
To be safe, I got up and looked out the window. I didn't see anyone though. I took out my cell phone and called my brother real quick.
Okay.
He didn't pick up.
Yeah, give him a quick ring and make sure that's
I went
him.
to sit back down. Then it started. The knocking at the front door.
Uh-oh.
Our door had a peephole because obviously anyone coming to our house went out of their way to get there. So we'd need to know who was there before opening the door.
Right.
When I went to go peek through the peephole, I didn't see anyone.
Of course
So
not.
I'm immediately
Ding
thinking
dong
ding dong
ditch.
ditch.
Ding dong
Possibly
ditch.
some local punky kids, possibly my brother. I was hoping the second was the case. I shut the blinds now because I became paranoid that I was being watched. I shot my brother a text saying if I find out it's you, I'm not letting you in. Moments later, there was a knock right behind my head. So loud I actually jumped off the couch,
That actually
a
made
knock
me
at the
jump a
living room
little bit
window.
right now.
followed by what I can best describe
I'm not
to be
gonna
two
lie.
voices. One a deep male voice, one a higher pitched female voice, saying, "We see you," simultaneously. Heart racing, I imagined it to be the most wishful thing I could think of, that it was my little brother and his girlfriend messing with me. In the moment it made sense, or maybe I just wanted it to make sense.
Maybe you
The
just
banging on the
wanted it
window
to make
didn't stop
sense.
there, it kept going. But it moved to another window. This time the window in the dining room, where I didn't shut the blinds.
Why
From
you
the
ain't
angle I
shut?
was standing at, I could
These
see
people
two
are
figures
so
at the window,
stupid.
but no chance
You
could I
don't
see
lock
anything
your
about
doors,
their
you don't
faces.
shut the blinds.
I
What's
didn't
next?
look at
You
them,
don't even
so I ran
lock the
upstairs to my
window.
dad's room to get one of his guns from
Idiot.
under his bed. He told me exactly where he kept it, just in case of an emergency.
Now you're smart enough to have
I
a gun,
loaded
but
the
you're not
rifle
smart
and
enough to
ran
lock your
downstairs to the
doors
dining room
or
window. But they weren't
lock
standing
your
there
windows
anymore.
or cover
With a
your
loaded gun,
cover your
I felt a
window with
lot
your
more
blinds or
confident in
close your
opening that front
blinds.
door and going
But
outside
you're smart
to
enough to
confront
have
the
a gun.
situation.
What kind of mess is that?
When I stepped outside, I decided I'd do one full quick lap around the house and check on the cattle. I was no marksman, but I had the protective instincts for the property, and I was ready to use the gun if I needed to. The whole property seemed clear, and the cattle were fine. So I went back inside, checked every door, and went to bed upstairs.
Okay.
For half an hour, peace and quiet, until I heard a disturbing sound come from downstairs and outside. Someone was frantically pounding at the front door downstairs, accompanied with a man shouting at the top of his lungs, not shouting words or anything, just screaming. I grabbed the rifle next to my bed, ran to the living room window, pushed it open, and fired a round outside into the dark night.
Yo,
The screaming and pounding stopped, and I heard two sets of footsteps quickly stomp off the wooden porch. And then there was nothing but the
I
sound
would
of
have
the night
unloaded
crickets.
the entire round
The
into
rest
his
of the night,
skull
nothing happened.
if I saw
Actually,
his
nothing ever
silhouette.
happened again until I moved out. But it was not my brother and his girlfriend. I found out the next day. My dad was proud of me when he heard I protected the property.
He should be.
I'm just grateful my dad has those guns. And I only agreed with his owning them even more after that.
Now I don't really know what is with these. Like I don't really know what is with these dumbass people who can't even lock their doors or lock the windows or close their blinds. But you guys can remember to use a gun. Y'all can't even nah. That just doesn't make sense, honestly. That just doesn't make sense, honestly.
I was home alone one night in the spring. I was on a FaceTime call with my friend, at one point pacing back and forth in my room. When I passed the window and looked outside at one point, I saw
That's a
someone
nice
outside
looking
on
room
the
you got
street,
there.
just standing there, facing my house, facing my window. I looked a little more carefully, and determined he was looking up right at my window.
Creep alert.
I told my friend Jordan on a FaceTime call and tried to show her. She said she couldn't see him but to call my mom and dad. So I hung up with Jordan and continued to look out at the man for a few more seconds.
You
Then I
hung
walked
up
away
with
from
her.
the window to my bed.
Just put it on hold or something.
I had woken her up because it was like midnight. In short, she told me to just turn off my lights and shut the blind and he would go away.
Yeah,
So
do
that's what I
that.
did.
Stupid.
After a few minutes of dying in curiosity, I had to get up, lift the blinds, and peek outside. The man was now on the sidewalk, closer to my house, still looking up at my window.
Stupid
Now I
ass.
called the police. The operator asked me if the man was holding
Why
any
would you
weapons.
open your blinds to
I
a
said
man
nothing
on
I
the
could tell. The operator then told me to ignore it.
I swear to you, these people are so stupid when it comes to investigators.
Call the police again. She also told me that a patrol car would pass by my house just to scare off the man should he still be out there. So I hung up the phone and
Why not
crawled
just
into my
stay in
bed.
front of her house until the guy is
I called my
gone?
friend Jordan back.
Stay in front of the
We
house
talked
until
on
morning.
FaceTime while I was in my bed for about 5 minutes. She told me it was time to go check the window again. And so I did.
Why
This
would...
time, the man was gone. I stood by the window, with the blinds now up, waiting for the police car to pass my house. It took about 5 to 10 minutes of standing there on FaceTime with Jordan before I saw a police patrol car come down the block, stop briefly in front of my house, and a little spotlight on the side of the car being moved around my property and a few neighboring properties. The cop car drove away soon after, and that was that. That told me the man was gone.
The cops should have stayed with her until morning.
So after finishing my FaceTime call with Jordan, we hung up and I went to bed. After laying in my bed for a solid 20 minutes, I heard a creaking or a cracking-like sound coming from outside. I got out of bed and looked out the window, but no one was there. So again, I went back to bed. A few more minutes went by, and there was another cracking sound coming from outside, this time louder. I looked over to the window from my bed and was in total shock when I saw a figure at my window.
Oh,
I have an upstairs bedroom, and suddenly the cracking noises made sense.
he must
He
have
had
climbed
been climbing
up.
up the side of my house.
Yep.
I went to the other window and screamed help over and over, hoping my neighbors would hear.
You went outside. You mean you told me you went outside and screamed, "Help! Help!"
The man at my window attempted to squeeze through the opening in the window, but seemingly gave up when he noticed one of my neighbors outside yelling something. The next time I looked at the window, he was gone. And according to my elderly neighbor who came to my aid, the man jumped down and ran away down the street. Cops came once again. This time
What
I
were
spoke
his
to them and gave them
intentions,
all
though?
the info they needed. They said they'd be patrolling the immediate area all night and went on their way. I didn't get any sleep that night, and I think that man was scared off for good.
He better have. Oh man, can't you imagine? Can't you imagine having some kind of creep or stalker come into your house, like right across the street from your house, and then just walk into your sidewalk after you close the blinds, but then open them back up and see him on the sidewalk, and having him climb onto your upper deck and just stare at you through the window. Comment down below if you had a stalker or a creeper or some kind of experience similar to that. But anyways, that was the end of the video. Yeah, go subscribe to Mr. Nightmare and subscribe to me if you want to see more content. Anyways, I appreciate you for 500 subscribers. That's a pretty big deal for me. So thank you guys for so much support. Yeah, just thank you guys for everything. Like, I don't really know how to thank you guys because I came a long way on this channel to reach 500 subscribers. I remember when I hit my first 100. That was a good time for me. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and subscribe to Mr. Nightmare, see more of his content, and subscribe to see more of my content. Also click that notification bell so that you don't miss a single video from me, and peace out.